प्रॉब्लम्स बता दिए जिसमें क्या एंथ्रोपोजेनिक जो कॉजेज हैं, पीछे हमने सॉल्यूशन बता दिया जो हम इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे कर सकते हैं और इम्पॉर्टेंट This World Health Day is our planet, our health. So our team created this model which depicts that our health and our planet is in our hands. So as we all know that without having a healthier planet, we are not going to have a good health or healthy human beings. So as WHO estimates that more than 13 million deaths around the globe per year are due to avoidable environmental causes. So we have shown the interconnection between the human health and the planet.
Due to global warming, there is melting of the glaciers which increase the sea level and causes loss of vegetation, and due to excessive floods humans are also affected, and due to the change in the life cycle of the plants it leads to lesser yield of the crops and ultimately it causes malnutrition in humans.
Deforestation causes damage or harm to our planet and biodiversity. By growing the greed of the humans for various forest products, we damage our biodiversity by non-sustainable use of the plants.
computer lab.
Which are the vector of severe diseases like dengue and malaria?
Industries degrade our environment in terms of pollution and consequently it affects our human health by causing the asthma, heart disease, and lung cancers.
What is our primary responsibility to aware people and to create awareness among the people that plant growing are in our surroundings are helping to boost our immunity. In the pandemic of COVID-19, all these plants have played a major role to combat COVID-19.
Also,
Controlling population growth, it reduces the risk of the essential resources, that is the food and water.
Next is plant trees. As we all know, plants are very important in our lives. Plantation is one of the most promote our plants and animals.
next is recycling. By recycling the waste that we throw away, that will help to prevent the spread of disease, and that will also help to conserve the natural body. So we need water to sustain a good health and good life. So water is also important.
So next is the conservation of biodiversity. As we know that biodiversity conservation is not only meant for the conservation of plants. As human beings and all the animals are directly or indirectly dependent on the plants, as I have discussed earlier. So sir, it's very important to conserve all those plant resources in order to keep our health and the health of our planet health.
Good person's head, which only an ill person.
All this thermocol which is already existing. For example, whatever products you buy, there is a packaging which is coming, So, there are disposal of anybody who can throw some light on that. Kind of. Maybe some countries are doing
Sure.
mobile internet uptake.
Sure, sir.
Immediately, no.
Okay.
मैं तो क्लास में बच्चों को बोलता हूँ अभी इंटरनेट देखो मिल जाएगा
क्या बोलते हैं?
Good afternoon to all the students and all my colleagues. It was a very learning experience to be with you in this competition or presentation which you had made of various models which were prepared by various departments. The models were very creative and very impressive also. And I would like to congratulate all the students who had participated in this model making for creating awareness about environment and the relationship between the environment and the human health. It was a good thing that you had invited people from outside. Who are the judges?
College.
College, they are from the college. Good. So this also carries the message to the college also. Right? Because what is required, what the more important is, by making models, the environment is not going to improve. It is only a medium through which you are sending the message to the students who have participated, to other students of the university, and also to the families and wider society about the sensitivity that we should have towards environment, which is so crucial for our health. As you all know that the theme of this year's World Health Day was our planet, our health. So basically the purpose of selecting this theme is to bring home or to derive, to make you understand the importance that the environment has on your health. Because for healthy living we need clean water, clean air, healthy food, shelter. These are the basic necessities, right? And all these things come from nature. The source is nature. There is no material which is produced by human beings. Everything comes from nature. Either it is from the womb of the mother earth by mining the minerals and various other things, or it is agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, poultry farming. So these are the things which meet our needs. So human beings need this planet to survive. Without this planet they cannot survive. And whenever you use the resources which are available in the nature, some amount of negative fallout is always going to happen on the planet. Dr. Rajesh also said that even if you move a finger, it is going to disturb the balance in this planet. But as they say, if you are going to conserve everything, what are you going to eat? So what is required is a balanced approach, as our scriptures also recommend the middle path. So some balance has to be maintained. So this theme which the WHO has selected is also about sustainability. Some people call it sustainability, some people call it conservation. They have tried to link it with your health so that we start realizing the importance of conservation. Right? In different modes, the governments world over, they are concerned about the degradation of the environment which is taking place because of the industrialization, because of rapid use of natural resources, in which we generally call, as they say, earth has everything for our needs, but it cannot meet our greed. So when we say need, so we mean that the needs have to be within control. What is required is that we should restrict our consumption. We should restrict our needs. Right? Excessive consumption is the worst thing that happens to them. It is only because of the consumption craze that has taken over the world in the name of industrialization and modernization that we are consuming more and more things. Good thing is that India, though it is the country which has the largest population, should have been the largest contributor to the pollution in the world, is not the case. Those countries who are lesser population than India, they are polluting more than us. And they started this pollution process about 100 years earlier than India, because the industrialization in India started later. The modernization process, the economic development, they started later. So we have lagged behind. So maybe presently the consumption of fossil fuel in India is more than many developed countries. But they have already exhausted their quota of pollution. We started late, so they should allow us. This is the theme now. Recently there was a convention in Glasgow where our Prime Minister also participated. It's in England. Scotland. Scotland is part of England. So the conference was there. So in that conference, the developed countries were pressing us to reduce or reduce to the zero level our consumption of fossil fuels, which includes mainly coal consumption. Should reduce, because coal is the major source of electricity generation for thermal power generation. The percentage of hydroelectric energy or the wind energy or solar energy, though India has moved very fast as far as the solar energy is concerned and is one of the leading countries in the world. But still, keeping in view the size of the country, the population of the country, it takes time, it will take years. So the target that the India has fixed for 2050 is to reduce by 50% the consumption of fossil fuel. Fossil fuel actually is the biggest contributor. There are other contributors also. For example, the agriculture, which generally people may not be knowing, and the animal rearing, animal husbandry, this is also a major contributor. I don't know, nobody mentioned even during the presentation of their models. The milk animals, they are a major contributor of methane. And do you know that methane is the most dangerous thing as far as the ozone depletion is concerned? Ozone depletion. Because methane is a gas which is very difficult to disintegrate. It takes a lot of time to disintegrate and merge with the environment. So it is a major contributor as far as the depletion of ozone layer is concerned. The reason, I tried to find out the reason one day, long back, not today, that how animals contribute to this. How do they generate methane? Their cow dung and residual for a lot period of time. I know some people may be knowing it, I don't know. So during that process, this gas generated in their stomach, and then they release the gas, and then it pollutes the environment. So the solutions are not there. We need animals, but it is better to adopt the traditional Indian non-vegetarian methods, because in West what is happening is we use an animal, a cow, for 15 to 20 years, right? They may use it for the life of a cow in the Western countries may be 3-4 years. They'll slaughter it, eat it, and then the new cow comes. So they are increasing the production of animals just for consumption. Animals are required for human sustenance. But the traditional Indian vegetarian system, that is considered better in comparison. Vegetarian methods are better than the non-vegetarian, where you produce more animals by using various scientific techniques and going to indulge in aggressive deforestation, aggressive agriculture by use of pesticides, insecticides. These have negative fallouts on the animal life also. The deforestation, the space where the wild animals and the other animals live, it gets restricted. Similarly, as you know that this coronavirus basically came from animals. So if we are going to disturb the balance between the animals and the humans, the barrier of restriction or protection that exists between the animals and between the human beings, that will be broken, and the human beings will become more and more vulnerable to various new viruses which may come. So it is very important to maintain the balance. So as we all know that our traditional culture, where maybe 200, 300, 500 years ago, 1000 years ago, the level of education in India was not very high. The masses were not educated. So what our religious leaders and rishis, what they did? Rishis were actually scientists, if you closely analyze. So they are the people who had done a lot of research on these various things. So they had devised a method that the environment protection should be linked with the religion. For example, trees are devtas, they are to be worshipped. rivers are mothers. And also, this craze for modernization has increased the needs of the people. In the beginning, I talked about the needs. Actually, the Western economic model is based on consumption. An economy will grow if the consumption increases. But when the consumption will increase, it is definitely going to have a negative fallout on the environment and in turn on the human health. Whereas they have a separate model for conservation, and both conservation and economic model of economic development or model of environment protection, they are in conflict, they are clashing with each other. So that is the problem of Western thought. So in our country, India, we have a tradition of leading a very protection with the religion, and the things will automatically happen. Now, with the advent of science, when the people get educated, many of them may question that how a tree can be a god, right? How the river is the mother. So this, feeling of respect and gratitude towards the nature, that is also decreasing, which is having a very harmful effect. We are exploiting forests for commercialization. We don't consume much. I and you may wear a shirt or a pant or a shoe for 5 years, 10 years. You'll be shocked to know that the shirt that I am wearing today, when I joined Sardar Patel University, that day I was also wearing the same shirt. Not that I can't afford a new shirt. Do you think I can't afford it?
No, sir.
But why I am not buying a new shirt or throwing it away? Of course, I have other shirts also, but I am not throwing it away. Do you know the reason? This is our tradition. Our parents have taught us. जब तक ये चलती है तो इसको यूज करो. Why throw it? It will generate waste and create demand for new, garments, new clothes. So in India we have a very good tradition of austerity. We don't throw away products, we don't indulge in unnecessary consumption. And there is also a very strong tradition of reuse and recycling. I've seen people using gold cement bags for making carpets at home. And some laborers, they also use this for making, ropes for lifting the weight. So what is required is we should limit our needs. We should restrict ourselves to our needs, not to our desires. Because nature can fulfill your needs, cannot fulfill your desire. The more you conserve, the better will be the environment. Because most of the people, some models did talk about recycling and conservation also. That is very important. Restricting your needs, austerity. That is what all great people like Mahatma Gandhi, Lokmanya Tilak, Deen Dayal Upadhyaya, they all talked about this. They had not given a new thought. This is a traditional Indian value system which they were talking about. So I think I have taken a lot of time talking about environment, and we are missing the real, theme of today's. This is a World Health Day. It is not an environment day. So I think in over enthusiasm and over excitement, WHO has said our planet, our health. They should have said our health, our planet. It's a health day basically. So let's talk about health also. Because in economics we say what is the principal clause and what is the subordinate clause. So basically what we are today is celebrating health day. So let us talk about health also. Of course, these environmental issues are also related to health. The most important issue to my mind today is our food, what we are eating. That is, your food contributes 70% of your health, and 30% is from other things. So it is very important that you should be very conscious about what you are eating, what you are consuming. Nowadays some people call India as the diabetes capital of the world. people are not dying because of starvation. Of course, scarcity of food is also a big problem. It had been a big problem to a large extent. In India, we don't now come to notice any death which is taking place because of starvation. Gone are the days. So now the problem is plenty, not deficiency. So we are consuming more, or we are consuming those things which we should avoid. So again, same thing, we have to go back to our tradition. What our mothers and grandmothers were cooking at home and how they were cooking at home. That is very important. Now in the name of modernization, youths, young people, they are very crazy about the Western food and the Chinese food. Dal roti is traditional and backward, you know, right? But you know, our traditional food is better than the Western food and the Chinese food. The chemicals, Xenomoto, what is the chemical name? There is some chemical name also for that. So the chemicals which are used in these Chinese foods, this is very harmful for health. Similarly, youth is very crazy about pizza, pasta, burger, momos. So these are not very healthy foods. So we should be very conscious about what we are eating. If you don't eat the right kind of food, you are going to spoil your health. You may do a lot of environment conservation. So the quality of air you are breathing is only doing part of the job. It will help in digestion. But if you are dumping your stomach with acidic or poisonous elements which are very difficult to digest and may get accumulated in your body, as one of the models was also showing how the kidney failure has become one of the most dreaded diseases today. The kidneys, not the kidney stone, but the kidney failure. It is because of the chemicals in the food that we are eating. The uric acid that gets accumulated in the body, which the kidneys fail to process. That is a major contributor for the disease. So we should be very conscious about what we are eating. The Indian style of cooking has also changed from the tradition. The earlier days, we were using desi ghee. Now we are using or sarson oil or coconut oil. These are the traditional things that we are using. Now we have shifted to refined oil. And this refining process is very dangerous. There was a study conducted by Center for Science and Environment. Have you heard about CSE? Sunita Narayan, you must have heard about. She has done a number of good studies. One of her studies created a havoc in the whole country, even in world over. That was on cold drinks. That everybody knows. But I don't know if anybody knows about the study on edible oils. Anybody? Have you read that study? I read that study in a newspaper 10-15 years back. Amar Ujala, there was a front story that most of the edible oils in India, they are very bad for health. And the villain is trans fatty acid. There is an acid which is called trans fatty acid. So when I read that news item will not give the names of the edible oils and the brands. The study was actually done on all the brands which are available in India, including Fortune, Swika and whatever, all the brands of edible oils, Dhara. So I thought the study must be available on the website of Center for Science and Environment. So I looked for the website, and there was a 40-page project report which was available there. What was the need of the study? How the studies were carried out, what the brands which were selected, and there were tables. In the tables, you will be shocked to know that it was about acrylamides. Teachers and the students of chemistry would know what is acrylamide. It is a substance which is found in water also, in various other things also. but there are standards which are prescribed. This fitness is a very serious concern for us. Rajesh Kumar Sharma for organizing this competition. Thank you so much.
0.5 के सर ये उनको जो है ये अपनी तरफ मतलब ये जो मतलब अपनी जो आइंस होगी उनको अपनी तरफ लेगा और बाहर वेरीफाई करेगा वेरिफिकेशन के लिए क्या लगाया क्या वेरिफिकेशन कैसे मैम ये जनरली मैम हैबा प्रिंसिपल पे होता है मतलब इसमें कॉस्ट है इसकी मिला दिल्ली में 20 करोड़ यस मैम ये हाई एक्सपेंसिव है दिल्ली में लगाया है तरह से हमारी मॉडर्नाइजेशन पॉल्यूशन कैसे इफेक्ट होगी हमारी बॉडी बाकी से बहुत सारी इन्फेक्शन होते हैं या फ्रेंड सिस्टम के इन्फेक्शन होते हैं जैसे अनहाइजीनिक वॉशरूम यूज़ करेंगे या चीज़ें यूज़ करके बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं किडनी फेलियर होता है बिकॉज ये पहले नहीं होता था बिकॉज हम जो चीज़ें ले रहे हैं वही ऑर्गेनिक नहीं है उसी में ही दिक्कत है तो इसलिए हमारा जो बॉडी है वो सिस्टम है वो भी प्रॉब्लम थैंक यू
दिस इज़ अ मॉडल सो सर हमारा जो मेन विजन था सबसे पहले हमारा मेन विजन ये था कि हम खुद को अवेयर करते हैं ताकि तभी हम दूसरों को अवेयर कर सकते हैं तो सर हमने क्या किया कि जो हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी के आसपास जितना भी स्क्रैप था सर हमने उसको लेके ये मॉडल कंस्ट्रक्ट किया सर इसमें हम बेसिकली दो सिनेरियोस को डिफाइन करना चाह रहे हैं जो हमारी इनमेच्योर बिहेवियर है ना सर जो हम एक्टिविटीज़ कर रहे हैं आज के डेट में उससे क्या होगा कि अभी तो फ़िलहाल हम एक सेफ जोन में गए हैं हो सकता है कि जो हमारी एक्टिविटीज़ हैं और डिस्ट्रक्टिव लेवल पे ले जाए उस चीज़ को सेकंड ये है कि हम कैसे वापस हमारी अर्थ को फिर से ग्रीन एंड क्लीन लेके जाए सर दूसरी चीज़ कि आज की डेट में जो कंजप्शन ऑफ जैसे हमारा फास्ट फूड हो गया उसकी जो पैकेजिंग है सर डेली प्लास्टिक यूज बढ़ती जा रही है हम अपने बारे में तो सोच रहे हैं
Ma'am, the major thing is as every individual have to take a small step because a small step in future will make a great impact. Like in our project, a small initiative, we are usually biodegradability. We haven't used anything which is harmful for environment. The small things, saving water, switching off light, using less lights, using public transport. मैम कभी कभी जब ज़रूरी है तब अपनी बाइक पे आते हैं बट
ग्रुप नंबर 1 First position,
any guesses?
any guess? Group number 20. The prize to all the winner runner will be given in the next annual function of the university. And so I would like to thanks our Vice Chancellor Professor Chandan ji for sparing his time and highlighting the importance of environment and health, and also enlightening us about the various issues by which we can push it further and we can do for our climate and for good health. This is time where we can think and act. As far as environment is concerned, as nowadays I am teaching environment chemistry to the student of chemistry MSc. At the source level, that is how we use the method. The convener of this event or the driving force, Dr. Rajesh Sharma, who have organized this event leadership, and Dr. Monica of the Physics Department, who are involved in this step. And I would also like to welcome, thanks our deans or heads of the departments as well as the other faculty members for their cooperations, help, and making this event a successful event. And I would also like to thank the media members, other students who are not participated. So once again I thanks all for your success of this event. Thank you. Thank you very much.
और फिर मैं उसमें
Thank you.
इसमें लगेंगे रेड कलर के फ्लावर है ना, हाँ तो ये हार्ट शेप
सबने जान लगाई है। जैसे हम जानते हैं कि हिमाचल प्रदेश में जो सबसे पहले 2009 में जो है इनिशिएटिव लिया था कि प्लास्टिक को बैन किया तभी सर हम जो है कोई भी ऐसी चीज़ नहीं है जो
हॉस्पिटल हमने इसलिए बनाया क्योंकि उसकी वजह से हम अगर पेस्टिसाइड और फर्टिलाइजर यूज कर रहे हैं अफेक्ट हो रहा है, जब वो अगर ह्यूमन हेल्थ अफेक्ट हो रहा
अर्बन एरिया की तरफ जा रहे हैं तो हमारा रीजन है हमने उसके बाद जब ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग
Thank you.